Warning, my head really hurts.
Oh, wasn't that bad, you big baby?
Come on, like, all this time travel stuff is killing me.
This one's a lot less confusing.
No.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the As Seen on TV podcast for Legends of Tomorrow, Season 1, Episode 12, Last Refuge. I'm your host, Clio, and with me I have Dom and Rachel. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Hello.
Good. This one was not as confusing as they've been in the past.
I actually really love this episode.
No, they are. They are. It's the little things. It's the little things.
Like what?
It's Mick talking to younger Mick and telling him not to do stuff that he did, which would change him.
I think that's what he wants.
It might change him. It might not. It might change his attitude, but not his actions. It might change how he sees the world and not what he does. I mean, Rip says time wants to happen.
Just like when Jackson told his dad. I mean, if it's meant to happen, it will happen, no matter what you do.
It might save his life, and it might not. Which I unfortunately don't think it will. Because keeping an eye out for an IED and actually, doesn't always help you find one.
Or you can just accidentally shoot yourself in the foot the day that you're scheduled to go out there.
He's not Rumpelstiltskin.
Oh.
He's not. Rachel, get out of my head!
Out! Get out of there!
I didn't know Rumpelstiltskin was a DC character.
Yeah, they injured his foot to get out of the Ogre Wars.
Anyway. We get the Pilgrim. We see her in action. And she's pretty badass. She's got temporal powers that change time around her. She sort of just like freezes everybody in place.
Yeah.
I would say I'd like to see her backstory, but I don't think we're gonna get that. At least none.
No.
I mean, she still exists in the past, so I don't know. Everything about this just doesn't make sense to me.
Go on. What doesn't make sense?
So they like took their younger version of themselves, right?
Which I thought was going to be a terrible idea.
Which we called taking the babies. Like, we personally had this discussion.
Yeah.
But what about baby Sarah? Couldn't the lady go back?
They found out where she was at.
They said this. Rip said this. She can't. I mean, she can, but it would not be good. If she goes after a target in a time, she picks a part in their life to go and kill them. If she fails, she can't go back. That messes stuff up.
Yeah,
that's part of her code.
But
she's one and done. Moves on to the next one.
But the reason why she didn't go back to get baby, because she didn't think that they were going to do that, and Gideon found out where her wake was, basically. Her ship wake was going. And there's a 97% chance.
They had a line in the episode to explain that.
I heard it.
Yeah.
But that does... I would still go back and kill him. I don't give a fuck.
I mean, granted...
My mission is to stop them at any cost. I don't care about a code of honor at that point.
It's not a code of honor. It's basically preserving the timeline.
Because even though she's meant to kill these people, she's still working for the Time Masters who want to preserve the time.
But they're gonna eliminate all these other people and mess time up.
Yeah, that I will agree with you, because for Mick, she's like, Mick is the only one around and she takes him out. For Sarah, she like busts through the police station. It's like, you're not being stealthy. That's not precise.
The opposite.
But even
they forget about it.
Even taking Mick out, right? Let's say she successfully took Mick out, and Captain Cold, whatever his name is, I forgot it right now. Snart. If Snart lived, then everything that happened in the Flash is going to be completely different, and it changes all their interactions with Barry and changes all their interactions with the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Well, something happened earlier where we were like, this is going to change everything, and it, like, changed absolutely nothing in this show.
Yeah, but
I mean, that's...
But I think it was meeting a younger version of themselves or something like that. But in this case, you're actually completely removing somebody from the timeline.
Yeah.
That's going to have actual implications.
They said after so long, people just forget they were even there, depending if they were when they're babies. So.
Well, yes, exactly.
And it's not going to change. It's probably not going to change how Snart goes through his life. There's just going to be something that replaces Mick, or someone who replaces Mick. It's not going to be exactly the same, but it could have been
different,
very similar.
Yeah. Time will still go on.
Okay, well, let's take Snart for example. I'm saying let's say he killed Snart, baby Snart. Okay, sure. Then let's say Lisa Snart never went to live a life of crime, and
she still had the criminal father.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then what if she like seduced Cisco, and took Cisco with her?
Seduce Cisco.
Yeah, I know, but it was like Snart that was like no.
I don't know. Maybe her father would have took her under his wing, unlike Snart, and used her baby hands.
I don't know.
It just
doing that could make Cisco evil. I'm not saying it would, but it could.
Well, I mean, you're bringing up like doing this will change the timeline. Why would the Time Masters do this? Because I'm not sure, like, I feel like we talked about this before, but I'm not sure that the Time Masters are 100% concerned with the preserving of time. And it's preserving of their power, sort of thing. So it's an acceptable loss.
The reason why I almost called him Rory.
You did, Rip.
Rip took him in the first place is that they didn't have any meaningful, they weren't that integral to any timeline. They weren't integral to history. They were just random people,
outcome
basically.
didn't. Their outcome didn't. Like their whole effect after they were taken at that point in the timeline. But if they were completely removed, that would be something completely different.
They're completely removed like you said, right now it's starting to submit, so they need to act now. But if they were completely removed from the timeline, it would just be like a vacuum, would just suck itself in and people would forget about them.
No, I know they would forget about them, but
I think that time would go around them, basically. Like
it would, but it would
the spots
change.
Like
it'd still change things.
I don't think that much. I don't
think it would change that much.
We came into the show thinking every little time thing was going to change, everything.
Butterflies.
But we saw in the Flash, I forget what was happening.
Which
time? Shit, I don't know in the Flash.
Which time?
One of the more recent ones.
So with Hawkgirl.
You can't
where we thought everything was going to change, but it was only one thing that changed.
Oh.
When Barry went back to a year ago.
Yeah, and they got
the Reverse Flash.
Yeah, and they got the that kid at the end.
We thought absolutely everything was going to change, and only one thing changed.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I don't know. Time travel is just a thing, and time isn't linear. So, it just goes, it ebbs and flows. And I think it's like water. I mean, if you take a cup of water out of the ocean, there's just more ocean to fill in it.
That is the best analogy. Thank you.
But if you go back in time and stop the cup from ever existing, then it couldn't come out of the ocean to begin with. It changed everything.
No, Dom, but the point is, even if you did do that, the difference isn't that big.
It could kill a starfish. And that starfish could have gone on to feed a whole family of whales.
No, okay, because whales don't eat starfishes.
Moving on!
The plankton.
So the baby kidnapping. Let's go kidnap our former selves. This is totally a great idea. I thought it was going to be a horrible plan. Actually, not as bad a plan as I thought. That's kind of sums up how I feel about this entire show. This is a bad plan. That wasn't as bad of a plan as I thought. This entire show. That's been me this entire
I
show.
loved it. My favorite one was when Kendra and Sarah went to get Snart. Oh, your sister,
He's a little cutie.
oh, this is a good cheese. I'm just like, oh my god.
That
You
whole
two
time,
are adorable.
God. Just take the baby and leave. Coo over him in the ship.
I love when they give him to Mick in the ship. He's like, what? He's like, that's my future crime partner.
My future partner in crime.
Did little Mick understand what that was going on when Big Mick was like, I'm you?
I think at that time he kind of think. Then it's like, oh, the pieces started falling into place. But before that, he's just like, what the fuck is these people? These people are crazy. And I think, and of course, Sarah thought the same thing. These people are nuts. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. Like other little things, like when Ray was getting the shit beaten out of him.
Yeah.
And then that was like a year ago.
Yeah.
And then he's getting bruises on him now.
That's because he's dying.
That he wouldn't.
His past was dying.
The past him was getting it, so it was showing up.
Because they showed the man in the beginning who was being killed by the Pilgrim in the past. We saw him die in front of everyone.
Right. No, I get that.
Yeah, so whatever happens to you, it's going to happen to you in the future.
You're going to die.
But what about that whole time needs time to harden and solidify? And she was just changing that at that moment. But everything else that they've changed don't change instantly.
Because she was still killing him. She didn't deliver the killing blow yet. And they did have the time, and they did go back and they did save him.
She was killing him slowly.
It's just the show is so inconsistent with their own rules.
What did they contradict themselves?
The cementing. It said it takes time. So even if she killed him, it still should have taken time. It shouldn't have been an instant thing.
But it wasn't an instant thing.
It was. He was instantly getting these bruises on him.
That has nothing to do with the cementing of time.
Yes, it does. Because if she actually went through and killed him, and he died and disappeared and did whatever he did in the other one, and they decided they went to go back and save him, even though it's a big no-no, it can still be done.
Yeah, but
then he would just reappear again. Everything that they've said is they change things, and it has time to settle and all this before it actually takes shape. It's not like they go in and it just happens instantly. Like we've seen it before.
Everything we've seen that's taken time to settle, it hasn't been a death. It's been an event.
Okay, but she didn't actually kill him yet. That was the other thing. So this was still only an event because he never actually died.
I mean, if like his past self broke his arm, he's gonna have the injury in the present self. So it's gonna show up no matter what. Whatever happens to him in the past is gonna show up to him with his future self.
Yeah, eventually when it has time to harden the time, like they've claiming how time travel works. He wouldn't feel the effects immediately. It would be like, oh, he broke his arm, and then time has chance to harden, and then he's like, oh, well, it's raining, oh, my arm hurts again. Not instantly, oh, my arm just broke right here, then and there, and a year later. That's basically what just happened in this episode.
But she also seems to have a different effect on the timeline than other things do.
Yeah, she's working more deeply with the Time Masters than any of the other Time Masters, so she has special privileges.
So I just think that what she's doing is different than the things that have been changed before.
She's meant to have things happen now.
Well, if that's the case, it should be explained and not contradicting their own rules.
It wasn't.
That's the kind of stuff that's frustrating me.
Maybe because I watched too much Doctor Who. It doesn't faze me anymore. I'm just like, okay, well, that's how it is. Time is not a linear thing. Time is all over the place, and there are plenty of things
in the time travel that make sense to me.
You can set rules for people not to screw with time, but time has no rules.
nothing is consistent, and that's what doesn't get me. Like, I don't understand.
Time is never consistent. It's how people perceive it.
I get that, but if one thing has an action and it happens the way it always happens, and then they go and do something else the exact same way, but it has a different effect, like, it doesn't make sense to me. And I'm not talking about cause and effect. I'm talking about literal the same thing, but in a different way.
And
but
what
you're
thing,
dealing with a
though?
different,
Like the injury.
different person.
Yeah, but you're comparing two. I don't know. I don't understand the example you're giving as well.
So, in what was it? Trying to think now. What was the last case of somebody being injured in the past? Because it had happened already. And I don't remember who it was now.
I don't think there was.
I think there was either.
Oh, what was the last big event that was changed on here? Just in general changed.
The kid, but that he didn't get injured. No, that wasn't important. Sorry, I'm looking through the wiki.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even necessarily mean this episode. I just mean in general.
Oh no, I know. I'm going back
Yeah.
episodes. I mean, no injuries to past versions of the people we see. I don't know what you.
Just anything that's changed in the past that has altered the future. Literally anything.
Them leaving and Star City 2046 being crazy.
Okay, there was something specifically with Star City 2046 or whatever that I remember. That I don't know. It's just anytime they change something in the show, I can't remember the specific now, but I remember it happening. I remember anytime they go to change something, they go, "Oh, but that hasn't actually affected the timeline yet. That has time to harden." Like that's something that they've said all the time, every single time. That is consistent with the show.
I know.
But this one case of him getting the internal injuries and the internal bleeding is the only time that this has not stuck to the rules of everything must harden.
Stick to the rules. It's a totally different. She's not playing within the rules because of what the Time Masters want her to do. So she doesn't play within those rules. I
get she doesn't, but I don't know why he's still having a cause and effect immediately as opposed to having time to harden.
I can't.
Do you understand what I'm saying, though? Do you at least get that? That's the only problem I have with the show is the inconsistency. That's it.
But I think they're two different things. And I don't even know what the other thing you're trying to compare it to is.
It's just every single time they change anything, they say it's not
the
cemented yet. It has time to harden.
They get killed in the past. They die in the future. They have said that before.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But
that's not what I'm saying.
Cementing, because they can't go back and prevent you from dying.
Yeah, but that's not even what I'm saying.
So Rip's mom, she's adorable. I love her. That actress is actually fantastic. Mm-hmm. And I got so excited to see that she was in it.
Yes, I love her.
Yeah, she's a very famous British actress. She's very good. And I really liked seeing The Orphanage. And
The Orphanage is cool.
I knew that was Little Rip.
Yeah, it was really obvious.
He had the same jacket type and the hair and everything. Like, oh, it'd be cute.
The jacket was almost the exact same jacket.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, same color hair, everything. And I was just like, that's Little Rip.
And then we got to know his real name.
Jean-Luc Picard.
His name is Michael.
Michael, yeah. That's what she's calling him, Michael.
His name is Michael.
Yeah.
And it's funny because just before this episode, I was... it was last week, right after we finished our podcast. I was looking up, and there was an article that's like, Rip needs to die. Like, he needs to just go. His purpose
article?
he goes, his purpose on the show was to bring the team together. He's contributing nothing to the show. We don't care about him. Anything that happens to the character has no impending, like they said that he was in danger one episode just recently. It was before the Wild West episode.
And who is this person talking for me? Because I'd like to know.
And no, the way they said it in the article, I actually agreed with almost everything that they said. And it was just the fact that we don't have any real backstory on Rip, where we do with these characters, and all these characters have relationships with each other, and they're having interactions with each other, and Rip is just very flat and cold and has nothing to tie you to liking him. Mm-hmm. Rip is my least favorite character on the show, without a doubt.
Him. I actually love him.
It's just because we don't have anything on him. There's no emotional ties to him. He
has had interactions. We haven't had one in a very long time, but towards the beginning episodes.
We had that one episode with the pirates. That was really the only, and besides what we got in the very opening of
I think
his
that speaks to
child
who he
and
is.
wife being murdered.
With this episode, you realize he's a very guarded person about his past and about he doesn't trust many people.
I mean, we learned that from the Magnificent Eight. Mm-hmm. That he didn't want to go near it because of what he had done in the past. He didn't want to talk about it or think about it. Yep. And he even said it in this episode where he wishes he could forget where he came from. He wishes he could forget who he was. And
so by not talking about it, it's his way of trying to forget.
Exactly. But it's an episode like this where we get a lot of information on Rip and his backstory and everything that Rip is becoming more interesting to me. So I just think we need a little more of that than this. Go here, you do this, don't do that, and everything is fine. And
I agree, but to say that Rip didn't have any interactions with anyone,
it didn't mean interactions, but it meant no emotional stuff. Like you have Sarah and Snart, having like the little bickering and like the jabs and stuff that they have at each other, which is great. And then you have
I was
Mick
fine with that because that's just not who Rip is to me. I've never expected that from him.
You have Mick and the Atom. I forgot his name now. Ray. You have Mick and Ray having like that kind of interaction. You have Mick and Snart. Everybody's got like these bonds. Jackson and whatever, but nobody is connected to Rip, and it's just like he goes through and just basically just argues with everybody.
Yeah.
So there's no like emotional connection to Rip.
I can list more examples of stuff, but you're right. They are much less than the other characters.
Yeah.
You're right. I don't agree. I guess I would have to read the article to say whether I agree or not.
Yeah. I'll try to find the article. I'll try to put it in the comments below or the description below or something.
Okay. Cool. So it's the orphanage is interesting because it seems like she already, the kids that she's taking care of, she already knows who they become.
Mm-hmm. It's a hidden place in time.
So she's got such an interesting relationship to time.
Right.
Which makes her all the more.
She is. I like her. She's sassy.
Yeah. Oh, so sassy. She's like, English mom. She cares a lot, but she'll fucking put you in your place.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, see, with this whole thing, when they're like, going back to their younger selves and stuff like that, my whole thought was, what's going to happen if they go back and take Kendra? Will Savage not come into power? How would that affect this whole time? But they never went back and do it. And I was hoping bad.
They did another. They had a line about it. They said, since you reincarnate, they're not gonna do that.
Well, they could go back and get baby Kendra, but
we also don't know how far back they can go.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume they can go all the.
We know that Rip can't. Rip already went back and tried to kill Savage when she was a future.
Right.
So we already know that he can go back that far.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I was waiting for it. I'm like, if they take Kendra out of the timeline, what does
Oh
that
my
do with
God.
Savage's timeline and stuff?
Hold on.
Hold the bus?
Hold on! Savage is working with the Time Masters.
Probably.
Probably.
Which is why they don't want to stop him.
Exactly. And why they want to stop Rip. More than just he's being a rebel.
He is a rebel.
Yeah, that would be probably why they don't want to go back, because not Rip, I'm sorry. Savage wants Kendra alive. He wants her to go through her cycles. Because if she didn't, he wouldn't be around.
Well, they kind of said effectively, like, they can't do anything to Kendra because she'll just die and reincarnate anyway.
But if they got her to her before she got the curse on her, then there'd be no curse.
Yeah, before the events of the curse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, then there'd be nothing there.
But I'm surprised that no one on the team thought of that. Like, they just decided because she reincarnates. But if if Savage is working with the Time Masters and Savage doesn't want Kendra messed with, that could be a reason why the Pilgrim didn't do that.
Right.
I do love the fact that the Pilgrim underestimated Baby Rip, but,
Yeah. See, here's a perfect example of what I was trying to get at before. What they're doing now is they have all of their past selves hidden away. So, technically, they're hidden away. We'll never get on the ship and whatever. But time hasn't hardened yet, so they have 24 hours or whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever they said.
To go and stop Savage before they disappear from the timeline.
Yeah, I think
and that doesn't make sense. Like
that they're not dead. Like the fact that they're the fact that their selves can still be put back in their place, and they can still fix that, and time will heal. That's why it gives you a little more wiggle room. I don't know where the 24 hours came from.
Yeah, I don't.
24 hours versus like 5 minutes. It
might have been some kind of technical thing that Gideon was like, Rip, there's only 24 hours until...
But there's still time to put them back. When, if Ray had been killed,
I would even accept if Ray was killed, he would disappear from the timeline instantly or whatever. I'd accept that. Yeah. But the fact that they still had time to stop him, or stop the Pilgrim, he shouldn't have been getting internal injuries immediately.
Oh, I've got it. Okay. So, if he had been shot in the head, I think he would have just disappeared, and there would have been no time.
Fair enough.
But the fact that they were going to that point anyway, and they showed up in the middle of him getting beat, the fact that there was still potential they wouldn't save him is why he was getting injured.
Okay, well, did his injuries go away when they stopped him, or is he still injured?
Yes. No, they went away. They healed slowly.
That's the part I don't get.
Oh, I have an example. They punched him. His ancestors. No, he punched him so hard his ancestors hurt.
Right. No, I get that, but why did stopping the Pilgrim stop internal injuries that already happened?
Because they brought him onto the ship and they were healing him.
Because he wasn't going to die anymore.
If the internal injuries, even if they stopped them, whatever, and didn't bring him onto the ship, would have naturally healed over a year.
Yes.
So
it's not that he's...
I'm just trying to understand. I'm not trying to argue.
No, I know. I'm trying to explain it in a better way than I've been explaining it. I haven't been explaining it well.
Right.
It's not that he is... It's not that he still has those injuries 1 year later. It's that this violent change in the timeline is affecting him now. Like he's being hit so hard, he's feeling it in the future. That's how it feels to me. That's what it sounds like to me. I don't know how to say it any better. It's my last attempt.
Okay. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, but I applaud your efforts for trying.
A++.
Don't have to close.
My absolute favorite part of this episode was Jax and his father.
Oh my god.
Favorite
All the
part.
feels.
Yeah, it was tissue worthy.
Yeah, it really was. I was tearing up.
I went through a whole box of tissues.
No, you didn't. You went through that box for another reason.
So sweet. I I don't cry. It's like, yeah, sure. What? How did I forget his name? Mick. Yeah, sure, Mick. You don't cry.
You could tell with Mick when he realized what was going on, and he basically, I think talking to his younger self was more for him in the future than it was for his, because he had a chance to forgive that kid, because he's been blaming him for so long, and now he realizes it wasn't. It was, but it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
So he finally forgave him, and maybe that will change him. I don't think it'll change him like immensely, but I think it will change, like you said, change his way he thinks about things and feels about people.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Unless he ends up with the amnesia pill.
It seems like they're giving amnesia pills to people who aren't them, you know?
Right, but we still have time before they return them. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. They also haven't stuck them back in the timeline, so maybe they will give them amnesia pills.
Right.
There's no point in giving them now, and you don't even need to give the baby to them.
Yeah, if you give it to them now and then they're still there, like they said that they were going to return them with no memory, so it seemed like that.
Oh yeah.
You know.
I don't know.
What made them think? What made Rip think having Mick as a doctor, posing as a doctor, was a good idea?
Oh my god, we have to give him prenatal care. He means postnatal. He's just got the lab coat that doesn't quite fit over his jacket.
He goes, "You called an ambulance?" He goes, "How?" He's like, "How? How would I call?"
I can't believe my dad just gave you away to a perfect stranger like that.
Well, it was the 1950s, you know.
It was a different time.
That was my favorite thing.
Which is so true. But yeah, I was just like, oh, that
yes,
lab coat doesn't even fit. It doesn't fit. What the heck? It's like, you know, trying to fit 5 pounds of potatoes in a 2-pound bag.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love that. I was like, what made them think that was a good idea? Maybe they should put Snart in that position. At least it would have been a little.
Yeah.
He would have known.
No, but I think it was good. I think it was good to do that for Mick because like they're trying to like make him part of the team, and like why does everybody else get to do this and not Mick? You know, so
the exclusion was what made him Kronos in the first place.
Right.
So I definitely like that they're giving him that kind of responsibility. Well, it's not that much of a responsibility. You know, you just have to look like a doctor and take the baby, but it's enough to make him feel like part of the team.
Him holding the baby was just, I was just like, oh god.
Yeah.
Especially Martin. Holding Martin.
Oh yeah.
See, Kronos.
What were they gonna name him? What was the father said? He looked. How about I can't remember
Jeremy?
his name. Yes, it was something totally different. He's like, he looks like a Martin.
See, because the whole Kronos thing, that you brought that up, and the fact that had already, like, Kronos was already established before they even got onto the ship in the first place, meant the timeline was always going to play out that way.
Mm-hmm.
Then, like, how come every time the events when they go into the past don't always happen that way as well?
Didn't happen before they got on the ship.
Well, before Mick got shot, anyway. Kronos, like, it was by episode 2, Kronos was attacking them, and that was way before, you know.
But I think they were on the path.
Mm-hmm.
Him being on the ship, them being there, was on the path to leaving Mick in that forest.
Yeah, I mean, there's things. It's just like most other. There's things that can be changed, and there's things that, no matter how much you try to change them, they're always going to end up the same way. They may have taken take a little detour through the forest, but they're always going to end up that way. And then there's other things that can be changed.
And I think the thing about Kronos was the fact that they didn't know that was something that they were causing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And not knowing meant they didn't know what to do to change it.
Yeah, it's just I feel like if that should see me personally, I feel like if that played out that way, then everything else that they've done in the past should have always played out that way as well. Like when the Soviet got was it Soviet Russia? I don't remember now who got the suit. You know,
left the tech. Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like history should have always been that way, based on the way we've seen the timeline work with Kronos before he became Kronos.
But I think also with Kronos, it's different because he was sort of taken out of time. He went to the vanishing point.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even know how long he was there.
Yeah, that is why I'm forgiving that.
Yeah.
So
he doesn't even know how long he was there.
Right.
And I don't know if they've ever said it in these words, but just from being a Doctor Who fan, if you travel through time, you get sort of exempt from a lot of the.
Mm-hmm. And in Doctor Who, there is the void zone in between the.
Oh yeah, no, but I just meant.
Yeah, there's certain things that are allowed in time, kind of thing.
Or that if you are a time traveler, like you won't lose your memory if something changes.
Mm-hmm.
Something like you're a little exempt from some of.
Yeah, I mean it kind of worked that way in Back to the Future as well.
Yeah.
Because they were changing stuff and watching like the newspaper that they were holding changing around them, but they still remembered how everything always played out.
Yeah. It's like having that, on the end of your pants or skirt, that little extra hem you can let out. Or, it's just, there's a little extra fabric in the time. There's just that little extra extra give.
The time travelers are the sea
Rachel, what is up with your analogies tonight?
They're on point. I love it.
I don't know. I have a headache, and maybe that's my problem. Maybe that's what it is. I have sinus issues.
This show gives me a headache. I can't overthink this show. Yeah. But I have to, because logically that's how I work.
We've told you.
That's Doctor Who. That's a different show. So.
Oh no, definitely. I agree. I'm just saying
it's a different show, but still, I apply it to everything that does with time
travel.
I
can't do that.
Time travel is not logical. There is nothing logical about time travel.
Things like Doctor Who, things like this show, things like, to a certain extent, The Flash. I've had to not overanalyze it because we've gotten headaches every time we do, we talk about it.
It doesn't make me not do it any less.
I've come to a point where if they give me an explanation, I'm like, good, gotcha. That's fine with me.
No, I agree. If they give you an explanation, but they don't always do that.
I don't know. I'm just like, okay, it is what it is. Fine.
I cannot accept that. I will not go down without a fight.
Also, it makes Aubrey's head hurt.
Yeah.
No, but I actually like this episode, getting a little bit backstory and kind of, dealing with all this, their previous selves and stuff. I kind of liked it. I did love the Rip, getting to know him as a kid. And I did love the fact that, the Pilgrim didn't even think about him while she is, time with everyone else.
He looked like such an innocent fucking kid, and then he pulls out a knife. It's like, oh, okay.
And he stabs her in the thigh. I thought he stabbed her in the gut or something, but it was a thigh. But I was just like, he's like, hey, I love the Rip. He's like, I remember myself at that age. I knew exactly what I was going to do.
That's a tough ass kid.
And his mom comes up and she's like, where did you get that? Couldn't he exit from the walk?
Yeah, that was great.
Not even him at all, but which she knew that's what kind of kid he was, and he would, and she knows who he's going to become in the future, so she knows to get over that, and will in time get over that. I wonder what the time map's going to do now that she's a pile of dust.
Yeah, because they smoke her. They do not hold back. One thing I want to mention before we wrap up is Ray and Kendra.
You don't even want to talk about the sugar cereal?
Poses. Well, obviously the sugar cereal is the most... I was leaving that for last,
Damn it.
Obviously. He finally proposes. He's been wanting to do that since the day of the picnic. And she takes a bit to say yes.
I think she was still conflicted about what her 1871.
I'm glad she finally shared that with him.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
it was only so long she could have kept that a secret.
Oh,
no,
yeah,
she could have
definitely.
kept that as long as she wanted.
I don't think she could have.
It would have been.
If she died, she could have kept it forever.
They're going to kill her. She's
Why not? She'll just reincarnate.
I know, but I think that is the reason why they didn't go back, because she's an integral part of how Savage got his power and how he became. So if she would have died, if they would have took her out of the timeline, he would never become immortal, and he would have died back then, and the things would have just, which they should have thought about, but they're like, this would have fixed everything. But yeah, I think we've always thought that maybe Savage would work with the Time Masters, but I don't think we ever really voiced it, because you're hoping not. But it's beginning to look more like he is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I never made the connection, just because they seem so removed.
See,
like the Time Masters seemed like they wanted nothing to do with him, and that felt like a very World War II thing, like appeasing a dictator.
I think for me, just the fact that it's never come up with us, I've just kind of been running under the assumption that he has been, and we've all been in agreement, and that's kind of why
We've just been kind of like, yeah, we're in denial right now. No.
Because like from the very beginning, like that was one of the first thoughts in my head is like, why wouldn't the Time Masters want to stop somebody that's like really gonna destroy the Earth? Like,
well, I think in the beginning, the explanation they gave made sense, but now that we've learned, because they said that the Time Masters wanted to preserve time, and Savage doing crazy shit was part of the timeline. That was just how it was. But I think now that we know more about the Time Masters, it does seem like for them to stay in power, they would want to have a powerful villain with them.
So all they have to do is find out who Vandal was before he got his immortal powers. They know he's in Egypt. They can just estimate and go back like 40 years.
I think they already know who he is.
Yeah, but they go 40 years when he's a baby and kill him and fix the whole timeline.
Rip did. They don't want to, because I don't think they're good.
No, not the Time Master. I'm talking about Rip. I mean them as in the team.
Well, I don't know. I know they've already gone. Rip has already gone back into his timeline, into Savage's timeline.
Well,
and I'm wondering if
in Egypt,
keep going Egypt, but then they keep going back into his timeline, like when they went back and he found out Rip's family's name. They keep going back into his timeline. I'm wondering if there's a certain point where, I mean, it's like they're forcing themselves into this timeline, and if they, I don't know. It seems like they're getting to the point where it's getting harder and harder to get into Savage's timeline.
Well, Dom, you said why don't they go back for when he's a baby? If they stop everything, I mean, Kendra doesn't exist, like the Kendra we know. But also, that's not killing the baby. That's not something that Rip wants to do.
It's like saying
it's killing baby Vandal.
It's like if you could go back in time to kill baby Hitler, would you?
Yes.
And I mean, we went over this conundrum with Predegaton.
Right.
Mm-hmm. He hasn't done anything yet.
He didn't do it. He couldn't do it. So.
Yeah. It's like you could say you would, but once you're there looking at this child that hasn't done anything yet, that hasn't done these horrible, horrific things, could you really do it?
If I 100% knew for a fact that this kid was going to grow up and kill my wife and my son, 100% yes. He couldn't do it because Predegaton had nothing to do with the murder of his wife and kid. But if it was baby Vandal that was standing in front of him, I 100% think he could have done it.
But I don't think he
was the vessel that made Savage rise to power, so he would kill.
But that's different because it's not actually the person who killed him. Yes, it is the circumstance that allows him to do it, but it's still not that kid didn't actually do it. He didn't commit the act. But I think if it was actually baby Vandal standing in front of him, he would have killed him.
I don't know. It's one of those moral things. It's just one of those things that's like, could you really live with yourself knowing that you killed a baby that hadn't done anything yet, but you knew he was going to do something? It's just one of those conundrum things.
If I knew 100% certainty that he was going to do these things, because I time traveled back
Dom
from him
time
actually
traveling.
doing it.
Yeah, all I can say is thank God Dom can't time
No,
travel.
I actually did. I created a time travel machine, and then I went back in time 10 years to give it to myself to save time, and then my younger self spent the 10 years time traveling instead of building the time machine, so we now live in an alternate reality in which time travel was never invented.
Next week's episode is called Leviathan. Rip takes the team to London in the year 2166. We're just moving on. 3
I couldn't
months
tell.
before the family is killed. 3 months before his family is killed, he believes this to be their final opportunity to take opportunity to take out Savage, who is unfortunately at the height of his power. However, the team discovers 2 key elements to defeating him: Savage's daughter and the means to kill Savage once and for all. So I guess that was his daughter. I watched the preview and did not know that it was his daughter.
Interesting.
But yes, his lieutenants, his daughter and whoever the other one is, look really cool. They look pretty badass.
Really interesting. So we'll have to see what exactly transpires. I mean, they could give you all the, little promos that they do, and it's always something different. Like, I didn't think it was going to turn out though.
Yeah.
Because that's just how things are.
So Dom, where can people find you?
You can find me down below at Phenomenon, PHENOMEDOM.
And
Rachel. I would like everybody that agrees with my headache to tweet me and let me know I'm not alone.
Rachel, where can they find you?
They can find me right here at Savannah17. Now you can see it a little better now that I don't have the glare from the TV or from the outside. It's all sunny here.
Oh, and you can find me at Cleo. I forgot that I have to do a thing. You can find me at Cleomoto on Twitter, Twitch, and Pinterest, and you can find all of us at ASOTV Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Gmail, Google+, and right here on YouTube. Follow us for some more podcasts from some of your favorite TV shows, movies, and video games. Until next week. Bye-bye.
I need to take an aspirin before we do this podcast.
What happened to MySpace?
You just did.
What? The whole time I was waiting for MySpace. What happened to MySpace?
His brain was broken.
You just said it 3 times.
I'm leaving.
Leave me. I'm out of here.